Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. We're back again doing another pandemic project. This time it's going to be an Ambassadeur 5000. And this is the one in the preview you heard sounds like a bunch of broken glass, because this is one of those reel in a bag projects. And some folks ask me why I do that, and I think most of the time the answer is that because I can. So we're going to play along here. This was sent in, and it clearly is in a bunch of pieces and parts. And so the first thing you want to do, if you don't have a knowledge, or even if you do, is go to a schematic. These are available from Abu Fishing. Just put in Abu schematics. It'll come up on your internet search, and you'll be able to find it. There are several different versions of the 5000, which is what we're going to work on. Internally from the gear side, most of those are the same. Some have to do with frame sizes and the like, but this is a great help if you want to get a mental picture of what it is you're going to try and accomplish with the pieces and parts. Also, if you're not familiar with the reel at all, then one of the things you certainly want to do is you want to check off the pieces and parts that you have in the bag, find out what's missing, and hope to order them. Now, these reels were made a long time ago. I'm not sure what's available out there, but I guess we're going to find out what we got. So let's start. At the end of the day, hopefully it's going to look like this reel. This is a 6000, but essentially it's the same technology inside of it. And hopefully it'll look that way when we get done. So start with the bridge. So the bridge, for the most part, looks correct. It has the springs on it. There's 3 springs on it. It's missing the pinion gear, but I'm sure it's in there somewhere. I'm hopeful it's in there somewhere. And it's dirty, so we can go ahead and clean this, and then we can get back to doing some of the other pieces to this. So I'm going to start, I'm going to lay this out, I'm going to clean it up, we're going to see what we can do, and I'm sure you're going to play along at home to see if we can get this done or not. I'm told it's all here. I've been told that before, and I'm hopeful that it's all here, but I'm not sure. And one of the things I like to do is just saturate the bridge plate. You don't have to take this off unless there's something broken, but to take it off is not that difficult. It just involves pulling the springs off, and that'll free up your assembly, and then from there you can work this on and off. But push it down, and then there should be a main gear in here. Well, there's the bridge shaft that has 2 posts. It's going to trip both of these as it goes. So it actually throws one side up and one side down, like this. And that assembly is working, so no more is needed there. I do want to see what else we have in here. We have the frame. We have the handle. We have the outside case. These are all good things. We have a clip. I'm not sure that's the right clip. Let's go put that in. There's a snap ring clip in here. See what goes on with that. We have the backside handle. We can put the adjuster on this. We have the drag main gear assembly. We have our star adjuster, line guide, pressure plate that's going on top of this. We have the other side adjuster. I'm not sure which one belongs on which. We also have the metal shims that go in here. Put those on. It's always interesting to try and figure out what you really get in here. The The quick fix is to think about just throwing everything in a bucket and pull it out as you go through an organized thing, but I'm just kind of going. Now I have two pieces here. I don't know why I have this gear. This is the right gear for the piece, and actually we can go install that right now. You just slip that under through the fork, groove side out, and that's your gear. But we're going to go, just want to make sure that that's working. We are going to go ahead and grease all of this stuff up. We have a spool, the line guide, the worm, the tie-down mechanism, back bushing, line guide cap for the pawl. I think the rest of this we will just kind of do that. Not seeing the pawl in there. There's your anti-reverse. Alright, so let's just see what we can do here. Let's get all of this to the side. I see the pawl now. This is a heck of a way to make sure that you get a reel in the bag. I would have much preferred something like a Ziploc bag. Not only do you have vision to it, but you also don't get things like this caught in the cranny of that bag. And I've learned from experience, don't throw the bag out, then there's still be something stuck in there. Let's rebuild the bridge. Let's start there. So if you look down on your bridge, here's your bridge plate assembly. You have a small washer. You want to locate that small washer. That would be this one. It's a little metal washer. Hopefully you can see that. That goes on the post. Okay, then our next up would be our trip mechanism with our dog. So this is a finger jointed dog. It looks new. That's going to slide on here. Just like that. And that's how it stops. When it rotates, it's going to kick off to allow the gear to spin. And when you go to stop, it's a friction lead piece. And it's going to stop back down. This is your post for your dog. Speaking of posts, we should put some lubrication onto the main post. Load that overhead. Okay, so that's going to install a trip, and we can put that gear in while we have it here. So let's make sure that we put a good amount of grease onto the gear. This looks new as well. Get some in the slot. That's going to be from the control arm. And remember, as you install this, that fork, the one with the channel, goes on the outbound side, because that fork is going to grab the shoulder of the spool. That's how that installs. And then generally, what I like to do at this point is I like to flip this, give it a test. Hold your finger here, because that dog will kick out, and then you're going to have to take the assembly off to fix that. But hold it there and just give it a trip. That's kick both up, and it's kind of set our pinion gear in the right place. Next up then is the, just playing outward now, we have the should be a washer for underneath. That's most likely this piece. And we have our tensioner. We're looking for a broad washer. That would be this one, which sits inside. So what's happening here with this drag system, you have drag on both sides of the main gear, you have a small press plate, and this wire here, somebody had asked me a question about this earlier, this wire here that's kind of bolted to the main gear, that is not broken. That is a tension point, and these clips kind of hold it to that right tension, so that as you're cranking down with your star adjuster, you're going to find yourself kind of intersecting with that. You can see it here. It intersects and holds it in place from a proper tension perspective. And the more you crank down, that's what's really giving you the pressure on the drag washer itself. So it's kind of like the metal washers inside the drag washers. It's going to provide a certain level of slip, and make sure that you are aware that that's the way that that one goes. Okay, so the main one is on. There's some work that needs to be done there. We need to make sure that that gear gets some grease. Let's go ahead and put that on there. And you don't have to get it on all the teeth, because the two gears are different sizes. They will, by their nature, spread the grease around. All right, that's kind of tied up there. Let's see what else we can do with this. So on top of that, we've got there's two washers that are convex. These are more tension washers for the adjustability on the star drag. There's two of those. And we have a flat one. And we have the broader one, which is in a plastic type of a mode. And I believe we have the internal side of this gear. So looking at this then, it kind of confirms it. The rest of it appears to be line guide kind of stuff. So let's go ahead and grab the side plate. Side plate should mount on. Now be aware you got a little slot here, and that slot's got to go over the handle. And sometimes the free spool release. Sometimes you just have to move that a little bit. To get it seated properly. There we go. You want to make sure that there's no holes in the case while you do that. Alright, two screws. This is going to be the difficult part now. So interestingly enough, I have this reel. So that's a good way to kind of look at what you're trying to do in terms of screw heads. And I'm going to believe it's these two. Now if you didn't have that, I guess it's just trial and error. But sometimes it helps to have a little reference point there. Okay, let's get these two in. Then we'll give this a test before we go much further. I lost the seating when I put that down, so there we go. There we go. When I let it down, the alignment came off. So this one's longer than usual because you just want to take your time, and you want to make sure that everything you do is done correctly, because you're kind of only getting one chance at this. Okay, so I put it on, and earlier on I had put this thing on, but then I'm looking in my my parts tray here, and it looks like there's a bushing that belongs in there. This bushing has got a single stud on it, and there's a cavity here that would hold that. So I wanted to make sure I put that on before I put the cap back on, the spool adjuster cap. And he's got a bunch of these shims, but the blueprint here is only calling for 2. So I'm going to go ahead and put the 2 in here. Also says there's a small, I think there's a small washer there, but I'm not seeing that. I'm not sure. Maybe that's it. Okay, that would make sense. There's a little green washer that sits there, and I'm just going to put a little bit of oil on that. It's a felt washer, so felt washers generally get oil. I suspect that's what's going to keep the spool shaft good. Let's go ahead and tighten this up then. So we're a little bit premature in putting that on earlier. Give it a test. This is spinning. That's a good sign. All right. I'm going to put our star adjuster back on. Tension handle clip. Have the handle. These things annoy me. That red reel up there is mine. I guess my hands are too big for little handles like that. We have our handle screw. It's going to hold everything together there. And we have our handle cap. In this case, the other one had a tie down. This one doesn't have a tie down. Make sure these are easy to cross thread. Make sure that you have this threaded properly, and then just tighten it down. I don't see a lock screw for this one. The other one's a lock screw. A little bit of a balancing act. All right. Next up then would be to get the line guide assembly in. We're going to seat the line guide into the groove of the crossbar up top, and we're going to work the line guide shield on, and then we need to make sure that the line guide shield seats into the cavity like that. Now we can put our worm gear in. Seats like that. We have this little clip that I became accustomed to with the Shakespeare SKP series. The rounded edge goes to the outside of the case. The fork end goes in first, wraps around the post, and then this piece tucks under the other stud like that. That's going to hold your line guide in place. And then we're missing the pawl. Let's get the pawl in. Let's put some oil onto the pawl. And I oil worm gears. I don't grease them. You can turn that a little bit to get it seated, which we've just done. Grab the pawl cap. That's next. We can take our side plate, make sure that that's on nice, tight, check for the gaps. There's our screws for that. You know what? The only thing I have left in my part tray now is some extra spool shims. I think that's a good thing. So we'll be ready to test momentarily. It's unfortunate I didn't find those spool brakes in there. You can operate it without the spool brake. It's an anti-backlash feature. If you like the cast, you generally do take them off. But I'm going to check. I believe I have the spool brakes for those, and it would be quite a shame to come this far and just leave them off. I mean, it's easy enough. You can take the side plate off and go buy them and replace them, but if I have them, I'd much prefer to put them in there right now. Last one. Or if nothing else, steal them from the 6,000 I have there and go replace them later if I don't have them. Okay, that's the frame. I'm just going to go grab my pieces here. There's some leftover parts from a different project. I'll find out which spool break it is. I have at least one. Thinking that's the one. I may have another one. I'll check again. Looks like I have the other one for this. Let's go ahead and put it on the back. We'll notice right away if it's jamming, then it's not the right one. Sure, I'm getting to the exciting conclusion of this thing, and my battery pack just died, so I must be running long. Okay, time to mount the side plates on and give it a whirl and see what we got. All indications are that it should be what we've tried to do. Make sure when you install this that those brakes are set in so they can get inside the ring. Find the proper orientation. Tighten down the screws. I like to hand tighten them first. I don't like to over tighten anything, but if you can use your fingers to tighten it as opposed to a screwdriver, I would recommend that. That way you don't cross-strip the threading. Alright, so we've done an awful lot here. We started with the schematic, and we made sure that we had all of the right pieces in the right places. Okay, time for the final test then. Looks nice, it's a beautiful looking reel. All the pieces and parts seem to be in according to the schematic. Here we go. Nice. Make sure we have the spin. We do. Tighten it up, make sure it fires back. Also, let's make sure our drags are tight. They are. Very nice. Alright, so the reel is done. Yay! We've succeeded once again in putting pieces back together, and we will go on to our next project. So I hope you're enjoying these. I think that I may have forgotten, how can I do that, to thank our first responders, essential personnel, law enforcement, teachers, anybody involved in helping us staying safe and trying to restore life to normalcy, whatever normalcy is in the wake of this pandemic. Thank you for all it is that you do. If you like this video, please indicate that on the frame. If you have questions about this reel or any reel in particular, leave me them in the comments. I do try to respond to those. And finally, if you have a reel that needs to be serviced and you would like me to service that, well then contact me on the email that follows, and I will be happy to provide you with repair information. So this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Here's another reel in the bag. Going back, getting a second chance to go fishing. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.